Hello, my name is Carina, and in this podcast, Break Fear, Find Freedom, I have conversations with people just like you who have broken their fear and found their freedom, whatever that may be. And shows you how to do the same. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee or your running shoes, whatever makes you happy, and let the fun begin. Oh, by the way, come take my hand and let's go. The door's opening now. Hello, everybody. This is Carina again, and today I've got an awesome guest, Dino Miliotis. Now, Dino has got a very checkered life, but amongst a lot of other things, he's been a millionaire. He's lost his money. He's been a millionaire again. He's had all the houses and everything that millionaires and people supposedly want. He's written a really cool book called There's No Box. But today we're going to speak about something totally different. Hello, Dino. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Dino, tell us a bit in about 5 lines or 5 sentences. Who is Dino? And I know that's like a really hard thing to do because, hey, you've got so much to say.
Dino is the pain in your bottom that you never thought you had. You know, it's really hard to just put me in one word, but I will say I'm a dreamer. I'm an entrepreneur. I guess I'm an author, which I never thought would happen. But I'm kind of a person that wanted to do things my way. And all my life, that's kind of what I've been doing, is doing things my way.
Oh, I love that. So a little bit like Frank Sinatra, right?
A little bit, yeah, without the music.
Without the music. Dino, tell me a bit. I mean, now I know that you've done so many things and you've written a book, and we'll talk about that later. But what I'd really like to know about is how you got through. I know you battled a lot with alcohol, and it has a stigma attached to it. But I think a lot of people do battle a lot with alcohol, and it's got a lot to do with fear. You know, the podcast is about breaking fear. Tell me a bit about that and how you got through it.
You know, that's a great way to explain it. You never start drinking alcohol thinking that you're going to become an alcoholic. Okay. I don't think anybody says, well, I want to grow up and be an alcoholic, but it just happens. But it happens to some of us. Now, I will tell you, I'm clean and sober. When I went into rehab, I said it was the first and last time that I was going to go in, and I meant it. And it is a one day at a time process. But you know, I'd be lying to tell you that I don't envy the people that can have one drink and be social about it. But that's just not me. That's just not who I am. And alcoholics out there do understand this, that you just can't have one drink. And that was the scariest thing for me to kind of get my head around. I mean, it's okay, great. I stopped. I quit drinking. So now I'm clean. Yes, you are. But it's mind, body, and spirit. Right.
Yes.
And the finality of quitting drinking was terrifying to me. I'm like, you mean forever, ever? You know, like I can never have this again. And the answer is no, I can't, because if I did, I would be dead. Not right away when I, take the first drink, but ultimately it would kill me. And that's what drove me into rehab. This was a 20 plus year battle that I had with alcoholism. And for me, I'm what they called a highly functioning alcoholic. So even when I looked horrible, I was still making business decisions. I had $1 billion empire that I built. But, I knew I didn't look good. So, I stayed at home, started working at home. Hey, I'll call the office. You have enough people in my building. I'm fine. I don't have to be there. But, I'm making business decisions and I'm consuming about a half gallon of vodka a day, 7 days a week. And unlike bingers, I was the one that would sip it all day. 24 hours a day. Every hour I had to have it in my system, or I would get the shakes. I would get withdrawals. And it's at that time that I knew that I couldn't beat this, and I couldn't quit on my own. I knew that. But from the time I realized that till the time I actually did something about it was over 2 years. So understand that nobody wants to admit that they're an alcoholic. And nobody wants to say, hey, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go to rehab. That's like the last step, the absolute last step. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who do go to rehab, because walking in the door, whether they go again or, they relapse, and it does happen, unfortunately, they made a huge step forward, going through those doors. And you have to understand that they didn't just do that to kill time. I mean, you go there as a last resort. So it was really an experience for me, this alcohol, and it slowly took over my life, where I started drinking, and I found that it would calm me down. And so you look at it like, hey, it's your friend. My friend turned into my enemy, because it would consume more and more of my day, to the point where I knew what liquor stores were open till what time, and, who delivers and stuff like that, and it never ends. And throw in substance abuse as well with alcohol. Now you got a balancing act. You drink too much, you do cocaine. You do too much cocaine, you drink more. It never ends. And so towards the end, I didn't care if I lived or died. I mean, that's kind of how you feel.
So what was the trigger? What was the trigger that eventually thought, you know what, I don't want to die anymore. I don't want to die anymore. I need to get help. What was it? Was it just one day you woke up?
The trigger was that I couldn't even make phone calls. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I seem to have lost. Okay. I think you're back. Or am I back?
I can see you. Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, you were.
So the day was where I was spending almost all my time in bed. I was very tired. And I remember drinking the right amount, so I don't have the shakes or anything like that. But something weird was happening, is I was starting to get violently ill. In other words, my body was shutting down.
Yeah.
So I would drink and I would convulse, and, bathroom visits, all the time. And it was a mess. That's not living to me. On top of that, my family was gone. My wife was gone. I had nobody. And all the people in my business, they're not my friends. They just want a paycheck. I mean, let's face it, it only goes so far, their sincerity. And so I was alone. I was a prisoner in my own house. I was in San Diego. I had a huge mansion in Rancho Santa Fe. And I have all these Picassos and all this art on the wall, and beautiful furniture, beautiful cars. And I looked around, and I remember saying, I have all this and I have nothing. And it just clicked in my head. It's just, this isn't living. This is dying. Business came easy for me. That aggravates a lot of people, but it was very easy for me to be successful. But it was harder for me to wrap my head around my own demons and kind of fight them.
Yes.
Alcohol is something that I know that I can't beat. I like to think like I can control the whole world and the universe. And do you know who I am? I made all this money. Yeah, that's great. Alcohol will beat you every single time. And so that's when I decided to go into rehab.
Well, that took a lot of courage. Well, I suppose it's like having a gun to your head, right? In metaphorically, because you either live or you die. So I'm really happy that you chose life. That's pretty cool. So at least we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
What was it that Do you remember? I mean, it's a long time ago, but what was it that started the whole process of the alcohol? Was it a fear? Was it running away? Was it, well, you were talking about demons. Were you hiding from your demons? Do you even remember?
I do. I remember clearly. Well, first, let me say, I'm Greek. My whole circle is Greek, and so we grew up in a loving Greek household, who is very social. So of course we have the weddings and the dinner parties and all that stuff, and drinking socially was very, very widely accepted. I mean, it just is.
Yes.
And so having a drink, like even when I was underage, have a drink, that was no big deal. But when I remember alcohol actually started being part of my life was after my first business failed, and I had to file for bankruptcy. And I was 31 years old. Okay, I'm 56 now. So I was 31 years old. And so I invented a product called Bug Ban, which was an insect repelling wristband. And it was just the right time. It was a void in the market. And it just, like, overnight, I became a multimillionaire. So I was on in People magazine. I was on Oprah. I was everywhere. I mean, you couldn't escape my face. And, I mean, you're 31, you're enjoying life. And, hey, I'm a big deal.
Yeah.
And then, I was very ignorant to how the marketing worked and territories and all this other stuff. But, when the publicity started slowing down and I received a lawsuit, I remember this clearly. It just floored me. I didn't know what to do. And I was scared. And I didn't want to go to my family. I didn't want to talk to my dad and admit that I'm scared or that I don't know anything, so I kind of kept it to myself. Yeah. Alcohol started becoming my friend during this time. And the scary part is I would drink alone in secret. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just to kind of get me through the day. And that's when it started. So I started looking at it like, well, I made all this money and I got through all this stuff because of alcohol. I mean, and how else are you going to look at it? It's the wrong way to do it. But at the time, I mean, you use what you have, and it was alcohol. It was easily accessible. You go to a liquor store, you get it. So that's when my role with alcohol started, when I was 31 years old.
And it was really based on fear. So you were hoping to just, it was just covering the fear almost. And so in some strange way.
Yeah, just trying to cope with just the unthinkable, because I did file for bankruptcy, okay, for $10 million. And people like me don't file for bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, I'm a failure, I'm a loser. Oh my God, what's my family going to think? They just saw me on TV. They just read about me in the newspaper or a magazine. And now all of a sudden I have to, file bankruptcy. Yes. So I kept it a secret. I filed and I pretend that I was going to work when really I'd go to a bar, and I'd be at this bar every day for a year, hiding. Okay. So, I was a mess. I was a wreck at that time. It was a really hard time for me, but I got through it. I was still an alcoholic, but I decided to slow down my drinking. I snapped out of it and I said, hey, maybe I just got off track a little bit. And then I just got another idea and did it again. I started another business. And this time, this business lasted for almost 20 years. A completely different business, completely different market, but the same results. Actually not. This one was 30 times more successful than my first one. So you're talking about 3 Rolls Royces, a Lamborghini, 6 homes fully furnished that we never rented out. They were just there. Jets, everything you could possibly imagine that you think you wanted. Yeah. And, I'm not going to lie to you. Life was good. Okay. But it's not just what I've been chasing all my life. All my life, I've been chasing money. In my head, success was only money. Yes. Well, that's not true. Success, the money's a byproduct. It's one byproduct, but it's not the only thing. But at the time, that's all I was chasing. When I got it, I noticed that I'm still not happy. And why am I still drinking? Right. So if drinking was supposed to have me cope with something, then why am I drinking now? I shouldn't drink. I should have everything I want. I should be happy.
Yes.
But it was the opposite. And when my father passed, and he passed in 2017, that was the height of my business empire. That's when I was making the most money and I'm feeling all proud of myself and everything. And then you just put it in perspective when you find out that your father passed. And I didn't know how to handle it. I was just like, wow, what a, I mean, all my life, I've been trying to prove him wrong, that I didn't need to go to college to be successful. All my life, I've been just like, I guess, just trying to impress him, and you don't realize that until he passes. And then it just kind of puts things in perspective. That's when I started drinking heavily. And the more I drank, the less I cared about other things until it totally, totally consumed me. Now, I went into rehab the spring of 2020. So I'm clean a year, over a year. And again, I mean, it's just something that I feel completely alive again, almost like reborn. And that, I mean, and that's how long it took for me to realize that.
Well, the good thing is that you did realize it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and so would you say you found freedom?
I found freedom. I found rebirth. I mean, think about this, right? I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Success, in business has always been super easy, and that's under the influence. Yeah. Imagine when you're not. Imagine what you could do then. I mean, my thoughts, my ideas, my brain fires so clearly these days. It's just incredible, and I'm just like, wow. Why couldn't I have this, back then? But I believe that maybe all of the stuff that I've gone through, the good and of course the bad, and I write about both in the book. Maybe both of those were kind of like training. Like if I'm training for a marathon, I'm going to run and train right before a marathon. Maybe what I'm supposed to do, I haven't even started doing yet. And that's kind of how I look at it. And I mean, I could tell you some ideas that are just absolutely phenomenal. Some projects that I have in the works. It's just insane. And it's fun. It's fun again.
It's exciting. So can you tell me a bit about, because I believe that, everything that comes into your life, you can find blessings. What blessings would you say you could find in your experience with alcohol, if any?
Blessings is that it allowed me to hit rock bottom so that I can realize how good I have it. And I'll tell you a true story if you want, which is just perfect for this.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I got out of rehab. Okay, clean, sober, bubbling with energy, bursting with ideas, wanting to take on the world, right? I didn't have a family, didn't have friends. I didn't want to go back to the old businesses that I knew. And I didn't want to surround myself with the circle that I had prior to rehab. Okay.
Yes.
But one little problem, when I got out, it was in the middle of COVID, the COVID lockdown.
Oh, yes.
Right. So try being bubbly and sober and clean and all this stuff, but you can't do anything. Okay. You have to stay in the house. You can't go out. You can't, all you can do is watch TV. I watched 456 episodes of Law and Order. I should have a law degree because I watched so much, but that's what everybody was doing. I mean, imagine lockdown. It works on your mind, this isolation, right?
Yes.
So I'm clean and sober. But I don't really know what I want to do yet. And my life was, wake up, have breakfast, work out, have lunch, watch TV, have dinner, watch TV
Wow.
every day. So I got out in August, September, October, November, December. Now we're in January, okay? January of 2021 this
Yes.
year. So I remember just kind of thinking, I can't take this isolation anymore. There's nothing to do. I looked up and found a liquor store that was open.
Mm.
And I drove and I got a bottle of vodka. And I'm like, man, this is so bad. This is wrong. But I got that bottle of vodka, brought it home, and I was looking at it, staring at it. I mean, it was calling me. I wanted to open it. And I remember, I'm crying and I'm thinking, I got on my knees and I said, please show me the way. Show me what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll follow you this time. And on TV in the background they were doing the movie It's a Wonderful Life all day.
Oh,
And
wow.
It's a Wonderful Life is a great story where George Bailey is feeling down because he wishes he was never born, and he doesn't realize that all the people in his life that he touched, he had purpose, right?
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it when it was playing, and I'm, pushing away this bottle of vodka, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, that doesn't happen. I was bitter. I was bitter. All of a sudden, I get this text from a 21-year-old kid who I originally met when he was 17 at a car wash. I call him Car Wash Kid because he was washing cars. And I remember when I first met him, I was bringing him one of my cars, Lambo Rolls, whatever it was. And I remember him running up to me with a pen and a pad and saying, sir, I don't mean to bother you, but, I'm thinking about opening up businesses. I want that as a career. And I was wondering if you had some time to answer some questions for me and maybe we could stay in touch. And I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
sure, kid. But it's not just this car wash kid. I've done that all my life, but you never stick around after you give advice to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, this time I found out what happens because I got a text from this kid right at my lowest moment. This is even after rehab. I'm ready to take a drink. I say a prayer. I get a text and he says, hey, I don't know if you're in town. I just want to let you know that I've been using all the advice that you've given me and it's helped me and I appreciate it. And I consider it an honor if I could take you to lunch one day. Now, this kid didn't know I went into rehab. He didn't know where I was, if I was in town. And I looked at that message. And so here's your answer your question. That was my sign. People look all their lives for signs.
Yes.
This is a sign. I don't know how else you could put it. And immediately my mind was clear. I had my purpose. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And I'm like, of course, I'm going to put all of the things in my life in a book to inspire others, just like this kid, to inspire people that I've been already doing it so long. I just didn't realize it. And what a perfect time to write the book during a COVID lockdown. Now it's helping people who read this, they finish it and they're inspired and they're motivated. And, I'm so happy about that. But I think I'm getting the better end of the deal because writing that book helped me as well. I wrote it. I've never written a book before. Okay. And I didn't know how to write it. But what I knew is I'm going to write it in a way where you feel like I'm taking you through my story, through the highs and the lows. And when I was writing it, I remember I was crying during the sad parts. I was laughing during the funny parts. I was excited during the success, period. And so it was really, it's loaded with emotion. And I just figured that people need hope, especially now.
Yes, definitely.
So that's my purpose. And since that day, I've never thought about drinking. I've never thought, it's just as clear as day what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love it. So let's talk a bit about your book, since you brought it up. And first of all, I have to say, I love the title of your book. There is no box. Oh, I love it. It's just so, it just resonates so much with me because that's, who wants to be like everyone else, Dino? No one, well, some people do, but especially now with everyone following the herd, it's perfect timing as well, right?
Well, yeah. And, I have to disagree a little bit. I don't think people want to follow. They just don't know what else to do. And that's a great reason for the title. There is no box. Imagine knowing that there's a box that, oh, hey, I'm a little outside the box. But what if there was no box? What if you could do anything you set your mind to? The only thing that you need is a desire and a fire in your belly. That's all you need. And you need hope. You need to believe that you can do this. Even today, I mean, things are tougher now. Things are all like, internet and digital and all that stuff. And the face-to-face stuff is not as prevalent, but there's never a bad time to open up a good business. Let's put it that way. So there is no box was actually, I got it from one of my mentors. I remember complaining to him about how people disappoint me and everybody says they want to do stuff, but they don't. And, and then, they pick on me. Poor me, right? And so the mentor was like, Dino, don't you understand? There is no box in your world. And that's why people, pick on you. That's why people envy you. And so that always stuck in my mind. He's passed now, but I mean, that was just, it was between that title and Scrambled Eggs, which is kind of really my life. But I just thought that There Is No Box was actually a good title.
Very good. Let me just, while we're on the topic, can you tell people where they can find your book? Just while we're on the topic, right?
Sure, thank you. You could find it on my website, dinomiliotis.com, or if you can't spell my name, you can go to Amazon and put in There Is No Box by Dino Miliotis, and it's available on Amazon.
Thank you. And there will be a link in the show notes, so just check it out at the bottom.
Great.
I just want to ask you a question about, you said that there's always a time, like right now, there's always a time to build a business, right? And a lot of people probably ask, I know, but how do I find my passion? Where do I find that desire to do the business? Or how do I follow through on a business?
What a great plug. Read my book. Look, there are many, many ways to tackle a business. My way is so far from traditional, it's scary, but it works. Okay. And when I did it once, and people may have said, oh, well, you were just lucky, right place at the right time. Okay. I did it again. Okay. So was it luck? I don't think so. No, so again, you have to have the desire, but my claim to fame has always been being able to identify a need in the market, more a void in the market. What's missing? So I wasn't necessarily inventing some different way. I was reinventing it. In other words, making it better. With this bug ban, there's mosquito repellents. They've been there since the beginning of time. There's natural ones and ones with toxic chemicals and so forth. That we know, okay? Nothing special. But take those fragrances and put them on a plastic band that you put on your wrist, and it comes in nice, cool colors. Now, all of a sudden, it's kind of a novelty, and it also functions. So it was kind of like a pet rock kind of thing. It was the right place at the right time. How do people find their passion? The first thing, they have to believe that it is possible. And I think a lot of people don't believe that. They don't have the confidence. And I'm glad you bring this up, because this is something that I'm just saying now, but I wrote the book to reconnect with my audience. And it's not a rehab book. It's not a how-to book. It's just a great story that inspires. And inspiration is something that you need in order to be successful. But let's just talk now about the people that are coming out of rehab for a moment, if I can.
Yes, yes.
Here's what I noticed. I'm very fortunate because I didn't have to go back to my same job. Okay. I didn't have bills that I had to pay. I didn't have to be around that same circle. I do understand that it's not that simple for most people coming out of rehab. I mean, there's already a statistic which is just alarming for me, that only 2% that go into rehab make it.
Yeah.
The rest of them relapse. That's scary. It's like, look to the guy you're graduating with to your left and your right. Chances are 98% they're going to fail.
Yes.
That scared me a lot. But when I got out, again, I don't care what people think. That's what I've been doing all my life, not caring about what people think. But that's me. But there's a stigma out there still to this day about people getting out of rehab. It's almost like, when you go down a freeway and you see an accident and you see everybody slowing down and turning their head and everything.
Yes.
That's the same kind of feeling that I get when people get out of rehab. All their friends, all their family, they're happy, of course. But at the same time, it's almost like they're waiting for the bottom to drop. They're waiting for that accident, like you're gonna fail. And it's hard enough for somebody to get rehabilitated, let alone go back to the same circle that they left, and now be, people waiting for them to relapse. And I think that's horrible. I see it more now because I've gone through it. I'm not just talking theory. I've walked the walk, talked the talk. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to connect with people who have gotten out of rehab, who are clean and sober, of course. Stipulation is that they're clean and sober for at least 1 year. They have fire in their belly and that they want to take a chance. And what I want to do is I want to do this contest where I'm going to select one person who contacts me, and I'm going to help them build their business with the guarantee within 18 months, I will make them a millionaire.
Wow, I love that challenge. That is like so cool. So let's put it out there. How do you want to run with this? So are you going to have people writing how do you want to do it? Do they need to write a story about their lives and how they're going to move forward, or how are you going to choose?
That's a good point. I'm going to choose kind of the story that moves me. I'm not going to say the best story because I'm not going to grade your paper. We're not in college, but something that moves me. I mean, not the hardship is, because every one of us in our own way has gone through hardship. We walked through fire. We get it. Okay.
Yes.
My audience, who I'm trying to connect to, they're already road tested. Anybody who's gone through rehab, you've had some challenges. I get that. I respect that. You're out of rehab. I know the challenges is one day at a time. I get that and respect that. Yes. Show me fire in your belly. Not like, well, I hope I can do this. Well, I'd like to do this and I'd like to make $10 million. That's not who I want. See, I want somebody who's a dreamer like me. When I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be a doctor so bad I could taste it. Okay. It wasn't just a dream. It was a complete burning, all-consuming desire. I would go to my dad's closet and I would take one of his white dress shirts when he wasn't home, and I would wear it like a doctor lab coat. And I remember staring myself at the mirror saying, oh, wow, Dr. Dino. So that's what I want to see. That will resonate with me. How you write it, I don't care. But I want to select one person, and I want to basically do this. Number one, it'll be life-changing for that person, for that individual. Number two, I'll get as much out of it as they will because I'm serving and helping others. Number three, and this is kind of the competitive side of me coming out. I want to shut up all the doubters and haters out there. I want to prove the critics wrong, that you can't take somebody out of rehab and they can't make it because they're just going to relapse again and they're going to have the same problems the rest of their lives. I want to shut up the critics and say, okay, what do you think about this now? And we could be onto something. We could be onto something where we can do this ongoing. But where I finished the book, and I finished the book when I decided to write it, that's where it ends.
Yes.
I'm thinking about writing another book, which is going to be, what did he do after he wrote the book? And write about the mentoring and building a business process. You see that show Shark Tank, right? Very vicious sounding. But I mean, here you have 3 billionaires on the panel, and they're listening to ideas from people coming to meet them, but it's almost predatorial, right? They want to take advantage of the business. They want to take 75% of the business. They want all these crazy loans. I don't want to do that. If I had to call my company something instead of Shark Tank, I'd call it a wolf pack, because a wolf pack means family. It means nurturing. It means never leaving them alone. And that's exactly how I feel. So I'm not the spokesperson for rehabilitated people, but I do have a platform where I'm going to say something because I've gone through it myself. And one of the things that really, really irks me is the stigma that we all have when we get out and we're clean and sober.
Yes. I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Dino. I love this. I love this challenge. So everybody go out. And I'm just thinking now, what if we have a follow-up every week, like 10 minutes, just to tell the audience how this is going?
Absolutely. That would be great. You know, my PR people still don't know about this. I haven't told them. You're the first to know. It's been brewing in my head, and it's been bothering me so much, you know. And I woke up a couple nights ago, and I was just like, of course, this is what I'm going to do, because I can't wait. I mean, right now it's supposed to be, you know, talking about my book, and and that's great, and it's rewarding and everything. But I'm like 10 years away right now. And, you know, I want to do a lot of things. Yeah, I would love to do that. And I'm really excited. I mean, can you imagine? You get somebody and you just, in 18 months, I'm going to make you a millionaire.
I love it. It's so beautiful. I can just see it. It's so exciting.
It's that easy for me, though. People will be, you know, hater. Don't be a hater. But it's just a gift. I have a gift. It took me 56 years to realize that I have a gift. And what a waste of a gift it would be if I couldn't share it with the world. So I'm embracing it now. And I'm sharing. This is what they call in rehab service, which I didn't understand when I was in rehab. Service? What do you mean, sir? You mean I got to go out and, you know, clean stuff off the highway and, you know, whatever? I mean, you know, it means different things to different people. And people swear by AA meetings, and I'm not knocking AA, but I didn't want to go to an AA meeting when I got out of rehab, because the real world is, I mean, you got to face it sooner or later. We were in a nice little bubble in rehab. I called it summer camp. They're not going to let you get high. They're not going to let you drink in rehab. But when you get out, that's when you have the challenges. And I just kind of want to be big brother on this one. I think it's going to be an awesome experience.
I think so too. So on that note, I think what we'll do is we'll have all the details on the show notes, and your email address, and then we will start the process. I'm just decided I'm going to be part of this, right?
No, that's awesome. No, thank you. Spread the word. This is how it happens. And this is our boardroom. We just decided something. So right? but this is how business happens in real time. And there's two types of people, right? And neither one is bad. It's just, there's just two types of people. There's one that's going to read the entire car manual before they start driving. There's the other who's going to throw the manual away and just drive the damn car. And you're just going to learn as you go. That's called learn by doing. It's real hands-on experience. And I think what happens is it's more exciting when you learn by doing. Um, there's a lot of rocky, twists and turns. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of adrenaline, which all of us crave, including me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But the rewards are great, right? Instead of saying,
Mm.
well, wait a minute, let's have a meeting about this in a couple months.
No.
How about Wednesday? Dude, how about now? Let's just do it now. So thank you. No, anybody who is helping, I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dino. That's so. I was going to say, okay, where will people find you? Like in the no, but after all this, there's so much excitement. So we just have like, where will people find you? Where can people? We'll probably in the next few days or so get a place where people can actually send their applications or their stories, right, to you.
Right. Right.
And so if you want to just give us a bit of details there. Then
I will give you the details. The only thing I know now is you could go to my website. We have the social links. There's also a contact me section on my website where you could send me anything. But you're right. Eventually, I'll set up something where they could submit maybe a video clip or,
yes.
And we could do that. But don't discount. I don't need an essay. I just need a paragraph that's just going to move me.
Okay. I love that.
And it doesn't mean that nobody else matters. I'm sure there's going to be thousands of, moving stories, and I'm going to save them because this could be an ongoing thing. I mean, you may see Wolfpack Corporation come out pretty soon. But for right now, what I wanted to do is, again, I'm reintroducing myself into the world, just like everybody comes out of rehab. I'm no different. Okay.
Yes,
just because I've been in all this and that, whatever, I'm nobody now. I started clean. I'm reborn. I'm a baby. So I'm taking this journey with you. So I want my audience to know me as much as I want to know them.
yes.
And that's the reason for the book. That's the reason for this competition that I'm going to have, this contest, basically. And then once I have that, man, I could be doing this all day long. There's nothing more satisfying to me.
That's very cool. Thank you, Dino. Now, there was a question that I was going to ask him, and I ask you anyway, but I think you've probably answered it right now. What change do you want to be in the world? Ha ha ha, that's funny, right? Because you've just answered it without me even asking it. What change do you want to be in the world?
What change? Wow. Yeah. Well, I think what we're missing a lot in the wing inspiration, and we're missing a lot of fundamentals that people have taken for granted, these days. There's something cool about the understanding your customer. Okay. And there's something cool about listening to somebody's story, on actually listening. Okay. Not Googling it. Every time you have a question, it just drives me crazy now. Well, what is this? Oh, never mind. I'll Google it. No, why don't you just listen to what I have to say? And you can formulate your own opinion. Google can be wrong.
Yes.
But I think everything's moving so fast and glossed over that we've lost the ability to enjoy each other's conversation and getting to know each other more intimately. I always sold by understanding my client. I never sounded like one of those salespeople that you can't wait for them to shut up so you can hang up the phone. I mean, I understood what's important to them, not what's important to me. I mean, it makes all the difference. So if I could change anything, it would just be to just give the world a dose of hope and inspiration, for crying out loud. That's what they need. On a rehabilitation level, what I will say is that 30 days is not enough for people. And if people could figure out a better way to have these programs available for everybody, it would be great. Because the sad part is, when I watched this, where I went, is people's care stops as soon as their insurance coverage stops. So there's a 60-day program. You see somebody full of hope and they're starting to believe that they can make it, and they're all happy and giddy. And then all of a sudden they get called into the office and says, hey, your insurance said that you have 2 more days and we got to let you go. Where do you think that person's going to go? It's demoralizing, it's deflating. And then, on top of that, they're going to go back and use or drink. And then we have this stigma. Oh, see what happens. Now, the system needs to change. So, and I don't know how to change it. I wanted to buy the rehab place that I went to, but there was too much red tape. So I'm just like, okay, I'd rather write a book and help spread the word a different way. But, for those listening who do control all the red tape, 30 days is not enough.
Well, Dino, we will keep in touch, because we're going to start as soon as this contest starts alive. Then we'll start our weekly call-ins, or so to speak. We'll chat about that. But there's just so much. I think we'll have to schedule another call where we can talk about all these other things, all these other ideas, and how I know how you make money. Lots of you just make it out of thin air. How do you do that? And how do you sell people and all these wonderful things? And of course, this beautiful competition. So we will have a follow-up. So watch this space. Dino, please tell us again where people can find your book and where people can find you, so they can start thinking about this wonderful challenge that you've put out.
Sure. And I encourage them to actually read the book too. Do it. The challenge is open, but if you read the book, you'll actually understand a little bit better who I am and what made me tick. And I think you're going to like it. So my website is dinomiliotis.com. You can get the book there. You can also go to Amazon and just type in "There Is No Box" by Dino Miliotis, and it's available on Amazon as well.
Thank you so much. Dino, one last thing. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self right now?
Don't change a damn thing.
I love that. That is so cool. On that note, that's a beautiful note to end this. Thank you so much, Dino. This has been awesome. The time's just gone. We probably could have spoken for another 2 hours, but
I got so much to say. Anytime.
So thank you so much. Bye, everybody. And just watch the space, because we will be back very soon. And so will Dino. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for listening right to the end. Now, if you want to know more about breaking fear and if it's keeping you stuck, check out the quiz. The details are below. Subscribe so you can hear some more of this delicious conversations. And then watch out for my book, The Clank of Chains, which is coming out very soon. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye.